What's up, everybody? Real with Omar, real people, real stories, real action. I'm here today in a studio of Saaf Garments. If I said it wrong, he'll correct me in a minute. I made a friend on the basketball court. We became friends off the basketball court, and we're both clothes people. He designs them, I like to wear them, so it was just synergy about to happen. My man, Osama Syed, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, yo.
No, absolutely. It's about time.
I appreciate you
It's about time.
green-lighting me to play basketball.
All good.
Okay.
I met your wife, told her he's good. And she was like, you know what? He looks trustworthy. I believe him.
Let's go. Let's go.
So, first of all, who doesn't like to dress up, right? And you obviously have a line, a whole clothing line,
Right.
Saaf Garments. And please tell people what it means in your native tongue. What does Saaf mean?
So Saaf means clean in Urdu, and that's my mother tongue, and so that's what I grew up with, and that really is kind of the definition of how I like to dress.
Minimalistic, clean, not too many.
It could be loud, but I really wanted the brand to come out as like, oh, whatever you got on, it's like, man, it looks really clean.
Yeah.
Without people actually understanding what Saaf meant.
Right.
And we've gotten to that point by this point.
Right. So, how do we start this? Where do we get inspired? We're like, yo, I want to design my own shit. Or was there a lack of, like, you felt representation of you wearing shit that you thought was kind of native to you?
Yeah, so I am uniquely in this position. I'm not alone, but I'm uniquely in a position whereby I grew up very Indian, but I also grew up very...
You grew up in India?
No, I grew up in America.
But
very Indian.
In the culture?
In the culture. Okay. My grandmother, she just passed like 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I grew up speaking Urdu only in the house to her, and grew up watching Bollywood movies.
Wow.
My earliest memories of music was Bollywood films.
So you were immersed in your culture all growing up?
Completely.
And you were not New York?
No.
Which I always found, I'm asking these questions on purpose because all these things I'm like...
And you gotta be careful also because you can't claim New York if you haven't been here. You have to be very careful.
Very careful. VX.
Yeah. yes, of course. Now, it's the best city in the world. No question about it. I think New York, coming to New York, experiencing New York City, it gave me a lot that I didn't have before.
When was the first time you came to New York?
First time I came to New York was 2010.
As a tourist?
Yeah, my brother was living in Harlem.
Okay. What a place.
Huh?
What a place. We live in 2010.
In 2010. He lived on top of a liquor store.
It was litty.
Right? Yeah. So it was, it's not the Harlem that it is today.
No.
And so that was my first experience. And it was like a blizzard. And that's before halal guys had just started popping off.
Right.
And I remember we went in the blizzard, but...
Hold on. Halal guys are guys who sell halal and vendor carts on the corners. Just FYI. For those that are not native New Yorkers. Just so, because to me it makes sense.
Of course.
Now to you it makes sense.
Right. Of course.
Okay.
So that was like this big thing. And that was not the first time. I saw New York, but I didn't really make sense of it because I was also not looking for anything. But I landed in the Northeast in 2017.
Okay.
And I remember what that did for me. And I got to immerse myself in the city. I got to understand like how people moved in the city. Mm-hmm. So there's a couple things I didn't really understand. I didn't understand how people afford to live up here.
Okay. You're like, this is too expensive.
This is crazy.
Right.
Number one. Number two, I didn't understand the self-expression that people had.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're from the Bronx, whether if you're from Brooklyn, whether you're from Queens, whether if you're even from Manhattan. There are people who have a distinct identity that they're so proud of.
Distinct flavors.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no one is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is, equally has this level of pride. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful thing. And it just didn't exist from where I came from. And the sense...
Yeah. Before you go, I want to, because I like to stop and dissect.
Of course.
So you're saying wherever you were living in America at that time, or your culture? Is your culture...
No, culturally separate.
Okay.
But like where I came from, the suburbs of Chicago.
Right.
Southwest suburbs of Chicago.
And Chicago is a serious place.
Chicago is a serious place, but I was in the suburb.
Right. So you want
when people talk about, I'm like a Midwest, suburban.
Rural? Like farmland?
So it used to be farmland.
Okay.
And then it changed because basically they long story short, where I grew up is when they broke down the projects in Chicago.
Right.
That entire community of people moved into where I was living. So it was an interesting and a beautiful upbringing for me because I was exposed to so many different cultures.
You put in the melting pot.
100%.
right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I went to a high school of like 4,000 kids.
Wow.
And, there was a lot of cultural influences from different backgrounds, very diverse backgrounds. And it was like a beautiful thing because you heard every type of language and everybody was very proud of their culture because they were so deep into their culture. And so I was deeply embedded into like the Indian community.
Okay.
But like,
And you had representation there.
Deep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you had the Black community, the Latin community. Like it was deep too.
Right.
Like flags type.
Okay.
So like people were really repping where they came from. So that's kind of like the background. But when I came to New York City, it was a very different for me because there wasn't, if you colored outside the lines where I grew up, people looked at you like you're kind of crazy. If I put this fit on and went back to my hometown, they'd be like, "What are you doing?
What are we wearing?" Yeah.
Put this fit on and go to New York City.
Just another guy in the crowd. Right. Yeah.
And
Or they're like, I like that. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so New York City really changed my perspective. And that's kind of like, that was the first kind of, I would say, if you're turning up the volume a little bit in terms of like my inner creative.
So you feel like New York gave you confidence to express?
New York gave me freedom. New York gave me courage. New York gave me a sense of self-expression that I didn't have before. And I wanted it very deeply and very bad. And I think,
were you aware of that?
I was aware of that.
Okay.
I felt caged a little bit.
Okay.
I felt boxed in. Caged is the wrong word. Boxed in.
Okay.
Whereby my self-expression would be limited based on what Omar would say if I saw Omar on the street.
Okay.
And also the most beautiful thing about New Yorkers don't care about what even New Yorkers or anybody else for that matter has to say.
No, they're unapologetically themselves.
Correct.
Right. Either you like me, or you don't like me.
Yeah. And so the city just gave me a lot. The people around. It's not even the city. It's the people in the city.
Yeah.
It's the way that they moved.
Right.
And that gave me a lot of courage. And I love it. I will forever. I can't rep it, but I will always stand 10 toes down for New York City.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So New York gave you the liberty.
Yeah.
Right. So when you decide, yo, man, there's nothing that looks like what I want to look like.
Right.
I'm gonna start making stuff. Did you make stuff for yourself in the beginning?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple of things. So back to like kind of how I grew up. I grew up I grew up in the 2000s, right? So
early hip hop's golden era.
Quite literally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite literally.
Absolutely.
So let me just kind of give you, there are two cult things that happened in the early 2000s.
Okay.
The Carter 3 dropped.
Right.
Okay. And there's a film called
Little Wayne, guys.
There's a film called K3G in India.
Okay.
That dropped. Cult classic.
Okay.
Okay.
K3G. Okay.
So K3G dropped, which became the most iconic film in Indian cinema.
Okay.
And the Carter 3 dropped.
And those three
soundtracks is what I grew up on.
Really?
And I saw how hip hop also transformed into a pretty aggressive tone to genre changing with Kanye West coming onto the scene in 2008. Yeah, all that changing. Heartbreak 808.
Yeah,
Drake coming
through.
Right. It went softer. Drake came onto the scene. There was a lot of change that happened. And as a result of that, one night I'm wearing Air Force Ones, ironing my jeans, okay?
Crispy.
I got a crease in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the next day, I'm told that we're going to wear skinny jeans and Ed Hardy t-shirts because that's what Kanye got on.
Right.
So that's kind of the evolution.
Right.
And so when it came to the brand and like my identity as like an artist and my identity as like my cultural reference points, those are kind of it. K3G and the Carter 3.
Okay.
So like that's kind of my mix. That's even influenced by the music I listen to. I have a lot of diversity in my music in terms of the way I think about things. But one of the things I really wanted to focus on when I was starting the brand is that experience that I just talked to you about is not unique to me. There are hundreds of thousands of people that identify in this kind of cultural cross-section where they were raised very, very Indian or very, very South Asian, but they have significant influences of American culture and culture shaping moments in American culture. And so when I think about festivals and holiday celebrations that are prominent in the South Asian communities, there's a lot of color. There's a lot of like vibrancy. There's like embroidery because that's the cultural roots of the
tradition.
Tradition.
Right.
But for me, I'm a tonal guy. you know.
Well, that's why everything's clean.
Correct.
Right.
And I couldn't find that. I couldn't find the silhouettes that are informed by the culture. Like, I want to pay homage to the culture. I want to be able to wear a pleated long jacket, but I don't want embroidery all over it.
Okay, I got it.
And so that's kind of the foundational nature of like where the brand started and how it was informed by all these things, like K3G and the Carter 3,
Right.
and then me trying to express myself, me coming to New York City. And I think about New York City as being like Gotham City. When I think about New York City, I close my eyes, it's black and white.
I got you. Okay.
Right? I see New York City black and white.
Okay.
I don't see it in full color.
Okay.
So that's kind of the perspective.
And that's easy to paint on that.
Yeah.
Right? On black and white. You can be
No
whatever
doubt.
you want on top of it.
No
right?
doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you when is the aha moment? When is the moment like, yo, I want to make something?
Yeah. So that moment came in May 2022.
Okay.
So in May 2022, there's this big celebration at the end of Ramadan, which is called Eid. And in Washington Square Park, and it happens in other cities, but it just is New York City. So it just doesn't happen like it happens in New York City. In New York City, there is a morning prayer that happens at Washington Square Park. There's thousands of transplants, frankly.
Right.
Seldom people from New York are there.
But it's go show up to congregate there.
To congregate there because a lot of people are transplants. They don't have their families. I moved here sight unseen. I didn't know what New York was. My brother lived in Harlem, but he moved back.
Oh, he did?
So he went back to the
So you had no attachments here?
I have no attachment. So, now I'm the one who's planting the flag.
Right.
And I want people to come here. So, but that was the first time I actually designed an outfit. And every year I would design something to kind of wear myself.
For that day?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got it made in India, and I wore it. And I really wanted something that was inspired by the Mughal Empire, because I loved kind of the flowiness. There's a Bollywood movie reference called Jodha Akbar. Okay. And it talks about Akbar was a conqueror, and he was like the head of the Mughal Empire. So anyway, it was like the golden era of that period. And I love the silhouettes when you had like these long pleats. And if you were to describe it today, people would say, "Oh, your man's wearing a dress." I'm like, well, no. There's actually a lot of power in that silhouette.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of refine it and like put a lot of structure on the top. So the top is a lot more structured shoulders, and the bottoms are still structured, but the pleats are 2 inches wide, and they lay really beautifully. And then also they're longer, they're extended, and when it's flat, it's completely flat. Looks like a long jacket.
Okay.
But if you were to even get a little bit of lift or air, it kind of
opens up a little bit.
It opens up.
Right.
And I love that. So I wore that on Eid in May 2022 around at
Washington Square Park?
On Washington Square Park.
How was that received?
The most compliments I've ever received in my entire life.
Really?
On site. People are like, where'd you get that?
I need one.
I need that. Tell me where to get it. And my wife just looked at me. She said, "You got to do something about this." And that was just, that was it. Everything is history from that point on.
Okay.
And I said, okay, let me put pen to paper.
So what was the first thing you designed?
It was that pleated long jacket.
That pleated long jacket.
That pleated long jacket was it. And I put the original one, I still have that. That was just, wool suiting fabric. The second time I put it on is I put a velvet patch on top.
Nice.
Frankly, I'm so proud of that fit. Fit, and it's been, thankfully it's been received very well. Many people have worn that. Many celebrities have worn it. Many customers have worn it. I mean, it's been really beautifully received by the community.
Yeah.
And it's also a brand defining silhouette.
Okay.
If you
so it's like your couture.
Yes.
Right? That would be like just for the normal person, right?
Sure.
Because you're not going to wear that every day.
Yes.
But for a special event, you wear that.
Yeah.
And that's what people will know you for. And then they'll start looking for the everyday stuff they think about.
Correct. And if you think about Saaf Garments, I want people to think about men's occasion wear. That's the lane that we swim in.
Okay.
Like if you're trying to pop out and show them, wear Saaf Garments.
Okay.
If you think about a clean fit, Saaf Garments.
Let's talk about quality.
Sure.
Because I'm wearing your stuff right now.
The denim fit.
I bought a whole bunch of stuff.
Of course.
We'll talk about later. How do you quality control yourself? Everything's
it's a very lean operation, as I mentioned to you. It's just really me, and I've been very fortunate to like connect with really cool partners overseas to really nail. There's a couple of things when it comes to making garments. Number one, it is shape. What is your silhouette going to look like, right? And it's going to be flattering. So there's a couple of things I took into consideration. I have found generally, and this is my creative perspective, that if you put strong shoulders on any garment, it's going to look good. Right. You look good. right?
Well, I have good shoulders anyway. But
Right.
yeah.
I mean, you're that guy.
Yeah,
You're that
right,
guy.
no.
But if
I
you
work-
did it,
I train for it.
right? Yeah. But if you did it,
Right, you can wear it.
it still squares you out.
Right, I got you.
So that's number one. Number two is fabric. So gradually, we really start when the brand started. There was a lot of polyester in the brand.
Right, on purpose or by mistake?
No, it was just it was a lack of knowledge.
Okay.
I'm not professionally trained in this.
All right, right,
So it was just like whatever we could do, we did.
right.
And as I understood more about what I want to stand for, what I want the brand to stand for, and polyester has a place in fashion,
In everything, right?
in everything.
Right, right.
But if I could make a conscious,
But high-end luxury is not the thing.
but you'd be surprised.
Really? Okay.
So there's perception.
Well, that's because people don't know, right?
People don't know.
And that's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
I got
And so people don't know, but like I think polyester has mass consumption of polyester has made polyester bad.
you. Okay.
If you did not consume, and if the general public did not consume polyester in such a way where they're wearing it once and they're throwing it away, the waste is significant, and you can't do anything with that, unfortunately.
Really? It's not
So-
biodegradable?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't
So
know
that's the problem.
that. Okay.
So I have since moved to basically all natural fabrics to the extent possible.
Okay.
And so that's been the second thing. And then three, it's just really been about like, what is the quality of the manufacturer? I want these clothes to last.
Yeah.
And because they're occasion wear pieces, you're not going to really be wearing them every single day.
Right.
So when you do pull out from your closet and say, this is what I want to wear, I really want that to be I made an investment to Saaf Garments. I made an investment in myself.
Yep.
And I stand 10 toes down looking really, really good. So, and it's uniforms. I design in a uniform perspective.
You design from toes up.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Head to toe.
You could buy shoes, you could buy
Yep.
pants, shirts, everything.
And I have in mind that whatever you get from me, you can wear collectively across anything, whether that's a mock neck T-shirt, which you look fantastic in.
Yeah, we have a couple.
Yeah, we have a couple, right? Exactly. Or a high-waisted trouser, or the oversized overcoat that's wool
that too.
cashmere. You
Yeah.
got that too.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of perspectives that I thought about in terms of like, okay, if somebody was to say, I'm going to go all in on Saaf Garments, could they feel comfortable and confident in being able to wear that? So that is the everlasting pursuit.
Well, I think it's quality and luxury because in my little travels, everybody has a thing, right? I've been around people that wear 8 figures.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, why are you wearing Lululemon? Right?
Sure.
And I'll look at him, I'll be like, why are you wearing Hermes sneakers?
Yeah.
I know you got the $5 Hanes shirt on.
Right.
I know you're teaching me how frugal you are.
Right.
Well, why you got the $3,000 pair of sneakers on?
Right.
Everybody has something.
Yes.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So don't do that. Like, because when they find your thing, the thing is feel.
Yeah.
Right? When people feel it,
Yep.
it's a wrap. It's right. Like when I felt the mock neck, I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We need this. We need
Yep.
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that is why I can't do anything that's going to be considered just a basic.
Okay.
If I came out with a tank top, you're like, well, I'm going to just go get this Hanes tank top and
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
So I needed, like really, I need to inform everything I do by the fact of that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody, because I'm also new,
Right.
a new brand, Hermes can do that.
Right.
Hermes can tell
They've been around a little bit.
they've been around,
Yeah, yeah.
and legacy and history as it relates to where people are today. Post-COVID, the post-COVID environment is an interesting one because people are thinking and really thinking deeply about consumption, right? And they're really thinking about, there's a lot more information around like, do you want to get something that you're going to wear and throw away?
Right.
Or you want us to get something that's going to last, going to mean something to you? And so building something that's meaningful is part of the brand ethos as well.
How have you been received by the general public? Once they, like, Saaf Garments doesn't have a marketing budget of a Hermes,
Yeah.
for example, right?
Sure.
But how do you break into that? How do you break your product?
Yeah, so one thing is I've really been focusing on, I'm new to this, but the people who are helping me manufacture these garments, they're not new to it.
Okay.
So I'll give you...
So you get in counsel, right?
Yeah, I'm getting counsel, but I'm also having the actual people who have done this for generations. So a couple of things. I got into eyewear. So, we will hit 3 years on October 19th, 2025.
Mhm.
Okay. So we're not even at 3 years yet.
Right.
Of fully in operation. But one of the things that has really been important to me is, can I find the best quality manufacturing process, regardless of where it is in the world, and leverage that expertise? So Sabe Japan is renowned since the early 1900s for making eyewear.
Okay.
So when I said I want to make eyewear, I went right to Sabe Japan.
Okay.
That's who makes my eyewear. Generational artisans. The person who owns the factory is in his 70s. It was passed on to him.
Okay.
It's a whole situation and
Tradition. Right.
tradition.
Yeah, I got you.
My shoes, 3 generations deep, grandfather, father, son.
Mm.
So artisanal shoemaking in Italy. And then, all the clothing manufacturing when we originally started, that was in Delhi. And Delhi is notoriously known for tailors. And
Delhi, India.
Delhi, India. That's correct.
People, they're not from here. You take that. I throw it in there. Okay.
Yeah, New Delhi.
Yeah.
New Delhi, India. Yeah, for sure, no doubt. So that's kind of really been the focused area. And so for me to be able to say, okay, I'm new to this. I don't have the marketing budget, but can I make you a believer the moment you try it on?
Right.
And, we've had really good success with people who touch it, feel it. We've had pop-ups in New York City that has been very helpful, and Hollywood has been very receptive to it.
Interesting.
So Hollywood red carpet events have, we very, very blessed. We're knock on wood. We've had very good reception from.
Is it strictly the culture or
no
across the line?
Across the line.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's a couple things that happen.
Sure.
People are looking for alternatives to typical suiting.
Right.
So that's one.
It gets boring. Yeah.
And so there's one. There's like that's one group of folks.
Yeah, how can I stand out?
Correct. Number 2 is people who are part of the culture who are like, yo, I have never seen this before. This is an American Indian brand.
Work with it. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I want this right now.
great.
Let's go. So there's a lot of love from the community and the culture.
That's great.
And then third is like stylists are starting to see the vision come to life. So like the celebrity stylists have seen, it's fortunate to speak with many of them, develop relationship with, and even up and coming artists. Like there's been like really wonderful moments with like amazing artists that have like supported the brand. First person to wear the brand on red carpet was Bobby Burke.
Okay.
And he,
How do you find out about the brand?
So I had a PR agency.
Okay.
His stylist said, hey, I want to pull for Bobby Burke. And that was amazing. And then ever since, now Bobby's a friend of mine. And,
Nice.
and we've been able to build those relationships organically. And just like on the basketball court,
Yeah.
one of the things that's really important to me is just building authentic relationships.
Right.
It's there. And that's a very New York thing.
Yes.
Either you got it or you don't.
Yes.
There's no two ways about it.
Absolutely.
But, and even before New York, that's just always been my MO. If we are kindred spirits, cool. If we're not, hey.
That's cool too. Yeah, absolutely.
And so for me, particularly in this game of fashion, which is notoriously known to not be that, I'm fortunate that I'm rooted in my culture. I'm rooted in my surroundings and my upbringing and my family. And so that really informs the way in which I interact with people. Like it's not transient for me.
Right.
Like I believe this with my whole chest. And if you tell me as somebody who is investing in the brand, buying a piece or what have you, that the clothes aren't what I wanted, etc., I'm the one answering those emails.
Right.
Like I'm there, 10 toes down. Let me know.
You care. Yeah.
So I care. And so me being able to deliver that, because I also believe fundamentally the brand has outgrown me by 10-fold, 100-fold already.
Okay.
It's meaning, people know Saaf Garments, they don't even know who I am.
That's good.
Which I love that. That's the point.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yes.
That's exactly the point.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for notoriety through the brand.
Right.
I'm looking for notoriety for the brand.
Correct. Yeah.
And so if the brand can stand on its own 2 feet without me, then we built a successful brand.
Right.
And so for me, that's really where it comes down to, like, okay, if this means something, not only for the people who are investing in it by buying pieces, but also for the cultural reference point, right? People who grew up in the early 2000s that are also informed, because I wasn't the only one who listened to Carter 3.
Right.
I wasn't the only one.
whole generation.
It's a whole generation of people. And when they look at the brand, they can see like, okay, there's some representation that wasn't there before. That is not just for us. It's for everybody, but it's informed by our roots. That's love.
I believe, listen, one of the major reasons I started the podcast was simply for representation. And what I mean by that is simply to have people that are black and brown speaking intelligently, not about what's the latest beef.
Sure.
Right? Talk about everybody has dreams, everybody has, goals they're trying to achieve.
Of course.
And I feel that me growing up, I never saw that.
Yeah.
We look like we were, the car, the Puerto Rican stole the cars, the black guy killed the woman. Like it was always that.
Sure.
So when I was able to get into a position where I could control my story, that was it. I had to do that. And then meeting you and seeing what you were doing, I was like, yo, it needs light. It needs light because it's good stuff, first of all, and I'm not being biased. You can buy and check it out yourself. But also, this is what it's all about in terms of helping each other rise up, right? Like the whole thing is like, the people that are on my platforms, if they see your stuff and they take another step and they buy something, then we've won. Then we've won because obviously you're an authentic person with your startup company, and you stand behind your brand.
Yeah.
As when you get to a certain level, they can't do that anymore, right? You just lose it. Look, today it was announced that this is real estate related. Compass bought Real Companies, which owns like Century 21, Douglas Elliman. It's a $1.5 billion deal.
Sure.
On paper, it looks cool.
Yep.
But the truth of the matter, in real estate, at scale, we're not talking about people anymore. At scale, we're now talking about profit margins and how we make the corporation look good on paper, regardless of what's really happening. Because I've had this conversation with two guys, and they're like, would you rather make 100 million and make 10%, or make I forgot the exact number, but like 10 million, 100%, something like that. I'll take 10 all day. I don't need to be so stretched to work for such a thin margin to look good. Whereas what's happened in my industry in real estate, because there's a mass consolidation, because there's lack of innovation.
Okay.
Now that's the play. So the way this relates to you is simply authenticity, being niche. Like in 20 years, you want to get bought out, get your bag, do your thing.
Sure.
But this is really the special time to me.
Yeah, of course.
As one founder to another, this is the really special time.
No doubt.
This is when it has your frequencies in it. You're living it, you breathe it, you're pushing it, you're pulling, whatever you got to do to make it happen. Yep. So to me, this is the special time. And this is really the time to get you on the show before you blow up. And then you'll be like, oh, man,
I love that.
I'm busy.
Yeah.
No, but listen, man, I say this because as a fellow entrepreneur, sometimes you're not always up. Sometimes you're like, damn, it's just things are not rolling my way. But when you get to the next level, you're like, oh man, it's so worth it. You just need that one yes,
no doubt,
to erase all the no's, right?
Yeah, and I think that perseverance and that, I think there's a place and time for all levels to this, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
If there's consolidation in the marketplace, there's multiple billions of dollars that are being exchanged. That's one thing. But what I love about this is that we're able to, at a very ground level, at a very origin story level, talk about, what you've built, what you're trying to build, on a go forward basis.
What does it mean to you?
What does it mean?
Yeah. What does it mean? What's Saaf mean? Like all those things. Yeah.
And like that to me is like, that's because what ends up happening ultimately, goal wise, is that it only takes one person to, just like you said, forget about even just purchasing something and seeing it. It just takes one person to see that this exists, that somebody's actually doing this, that kind of looks and feels like me, right? And then everybody grows. It's not just about the culture, right? To me, there was an interesting quote that I'm gonna quote is Denzel Washington was getting his flowers at the American Film Institute,
right?
And Chadwick Boseman, may he rest in peace. He gets on and he's honoring Denzel Washington, and he says something that like really resonated with me. He said, "You transcended the culture without ever denying it." And ultimately, I think about that a lot. That quote lives rent-free in my head.
Yeah.
Whereby, is it really about being Puerto Rican? Is it really about being Indian? Or is it really about being able to build a beautiful place where people can resonate with you and grow with you? And that to me is very, very important.
Yeah.
Given where life is, given what the kids are watching today, if Saaf Garments could be something that I didn't have growing up, and now it could be for some kid to look at and be like, I want to dress like that. I want to feel proud of looking like that. I want to put this on.
And so this is me.
This is me.
Yeah.
I see me in that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Or somebody who's not from the culture at all, it says, I like that.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
That to me is transcending the culture without denying it.
Yeah.
And that to me is like really one of the kind of founding principles of like what I'm trying to accomplish and do. Like there's going to be times for unit economics and profit margin and all of that.
Right.
But I think
that's part of the game. Unfortunately,
yeah.
I mean, we're trying to make a living.
Correct.
Right.
This is not, this is not for free.
Right.
But at a fundamental level, like it can't just be that because then everybody's doing it. And it can't just be the other thing because you're not making any money.
Right.
And, to talk more about like the ebbs and flows. So starting a fashion brand in 2020, whatever, is the craziest thing to do, right? Because if you think about So there's a couple of things though that I want to talk to you about. Even real estate today, right? And we were talking about this a little bit earlier, like with the barrier to entry to get to real estate. At least there is an exam.
Right.
Fashion requires nothing.
Right.
And the process to making a garment, making a t-shirt, making anything, making a piece that's art, the barrier to entry is on the floor.
Right. You just have the money to do it.
You could scrap and figure it out. Right. It's not that having the money to do it at scale, yes, but a very ground level to move product. The process has been democratized. So why would you do it if you can't do something that's meaningful? Why would you make something? And one of the biggest conversations that are happening in fashion right now is that, okay, I want to make this denim. Why? Do we need another denim jacket in the ecosystem? Right. And if the answer is like no, because I have
on it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So for me, it has to be bigger, right?
Well, yeah, especially at this point, right? Because
100%.
if you have distribution set up already, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
That's just another pillar.
Yep.
You can try to wing and get
Exactly
it out there. But for you, every piece matters.
Everything, and also like one of the first designs that I had after the pleated long jacket. So the pleated long jacket was the first design.
Okay.
The second one was this crop jacket.
Okay.
Which is not this one.
Okay, another one.
So this is an iteration of the best seller that we've had ever as a brand.
Okay.
Which was a crop jacket, which is informed by whirling dervishes that are in Turkey.
You told me about this.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that jacket, I went to Turkey in 2022 as well. There was a lot of things.
Just randomness.
Yeah, like I went and there's something called Sufi culture. It's like mysticism and mystical, and I'm not doing it justice by any stretch of the imagination. But there's a couple things in Sufi culture. There's Qawwali music. That's informed by Sufi culture. Qawwali music is a classical art form that originated in, I believe it was Turkey, and then it came to India, and then it became this really big thing. And there's this musical artist called Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, and he popularized it. So that music form is something I resonate with a lot. Okay. So that's how I kind of got into like whirling dervishes and whatever.
And you want to do something with this.
I want to do something with this. So when I came out with the crop jacket, it was an alternative to a suiting jacket, number one. People who didn't want to like a double-breasted or single-breasted suit, they're like, oh, I'll wear a crop jacket and like put a fit on. But that became a huge hit. But then I was like, okay, how do I iterate on that? So now I came up with this crew neck crop jacket. As you can see, it's cropped. It's not too cropped, but it sits in a way that is flattering.
Boys and girls, remember, look, some of these crop jackets, they're not going to hide anything. The word that you use in Men's Warehouse when you're heavier, because I've been heavier, is flattering. So either you got to put the work in to look good in this, or don't buy it. I'm just saying. All right, guys.
No doubt. Yeah.
Hey, man, it doesn't fit right. No. It fits right.
Yes, correct. Now, but I did inform, like the design process, just so you know, is that I think a lot of men particularly suffer from, and it's not really talked about, but like self-image issues.
Absolutely.
You know, how they look in the mirror. Men.
All the conversations we have, we won't talk about.
Right.
And those chats that we have that we won't talk about. Yeah, all day.
And like so many men will be like, oh man, you know, I haven't bought anything because like, you know, this is not my skinny body. Yeah. This is not my fit body. Like I was, back in the day.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
And I'm going to get right back to it.
Right.
And then
in 20 more years.
And one thing I could say just to anybody who's listening is that dress for the body that you had, you'll feel a lot better. Right. And then ultimately work for the body that you want. And so when I think about my design process, like my design process is really informed by how do you flatter the shoulders, right? Chest and shoulders for most men is very flattering, generally speaking.
And using that V-cut look.
Correct.
Right? The illusion. Yeah.
And how do you keep the midsection wide enough without going too wide?
Understood.
And so you'll see a lot of my cuts are
very boxy, but
correct.
You have a silhouette, right?
Right.
I got you.
And so I actually many of the difference between the chest and the midsection typically is like a 6-inch difference.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Like it's typically you'll see a 6-inch difference.
6 to 6 bigger.
No, 6 to 6 smaller. So if you've got a 42,
you know,
you're gonna be having like let's just go like if you're at 40, you're gonna be at like a
34.
34.
Okay.
Right?
That's for fit guys. Because I see a lot of guys that are not hitting that.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. But what I try to do is that if that's like the difference, I'll go and say, I'll go 4 inches instead of 6.
Okay.
So if you're 40, I'm going to go down to a 36.
Okay.
So that way, it's not like this. it gives you a
It's
little
not as
room.
dramatic,
It's
but
not
it
as dramatic.
gives the illusion.
Right.
Right. I got
And so, you're a really fit guy.
Thank you.
You know, built like a
All work.
Tonka truck.
All work, guys.
You know what I mean?
I mean, look, if you go deep enough in my Instagram, you'll see what I was before I got back into the hard work.
Yeah. No, I mean,
During COVID,
when we started balling,
Yeah.
you're like, yo, I just had this. I need to.
I had hip surgery.
Yeah, you had the hip surgery, and you're like, I'm working on it, and I was like, all right, cool.
Mhm.
That's what all the guys said they're working on it.
Yeah.
But you actually did it.
Yeah.
So, the long and the short of it for me is just like, okay, how do you still think about that? Because I am designing for men.
Yeah.
Very specifically, like, and my clothes are not for everybody.
Right.
It's like for the discerning male who's really going to put in the work, not only to look good, think about what they're wearing and how they're presenting themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. People don't take pride in themselves. It's
Yeah.
basically what you just described.
Yep. No doubt.
So where do you see it? So this is where we're at now. We're in 2025.
Yep.
You have you have traction. You have motion.
Yep.
Right. Where do you see it going? What's the goal for it eventually? I have my own opinion where you should do, but I want to hear yours.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things. I think being able to grow an in-person experience,
Yes.
right, is
I
very, very, very important.
Mhm.
That is definitely somewhere I want to go with the brand. I think so. What's upcoming? I just dropped the denim set.
Mhm.
And for the first time, this is still tonal. This is natural colors. For the first time, we're going to be introducing what I got on right now is a leather. This is lambskin leather.
You don't have mine. I have my size.
Yeah, I don't
You're gonna
have
get
this. This is one of one though, so this is coming too.
beautiful.
But then I also have this brown colorway that's coming out. It's dark chocolate brown. I'm very excited about that. But there's a couple things. For me, it's really about building slowly.
Okay.
Right. And so I really want to be able to, just from a business perspective, let's just talk about that. I really want to own my customer base.
Okay.
That's very important to me.
Mhm.
In today's day and age, you could, build retail relationships, get into a bunch of retailers, if you're lucky and they like your product. Because ultimately, unit economics.
Right.
Right. If you get enough eyeballs on it, then you're moving product.
You move units,
Right.
They like it.
They like it, right? And then those orders are much bigger. But for me, it's more about being able to control the narrative and the story. And there will come a time and an inflection point. We have motion. We have good traction. There's a very cool way about building something that I'm proud of, which is the storytelling is at the forefront of it.
Yeah.
And that's very important to me.
I think that creates a very distinct and unique connection to your client base.
Yep.
If you do it that way, most corporate America doesn't have that patience.
Yep.
Right. They just want we just had the conversation. They want their numbers. Where our numbers look.
Yep.
Oh, get rid of this. Do it.
Sure.
Let's sell it. Let's liquidate.
Yep.
So you have that patience. Are you just a patient person?
Yes. Generally, I am a patient person, and I don't need everything all at once, and I'm not greedy for any of it.
So it's distinct to your personality.
It is very distinct to my personality. I've always believed fundamentally that what is mine will be mine.
Okay.
Right. And you can't take from me, you can't steal from me. I believe in timing is divine.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't get it, it wasn't meant for me. And I believe that with my whole.
Where do you think you get that thought process from? 'Cause that's very unique. A lot of people don't think like that.
I get it from my dad.
Okay.
My father.
Okay.
Yeah. My dad is a very my dad instilled very strong values associated with timing and faith.
Is that religious based or just?
I mean, he's a very religious man, but that is his personality. He really believed it. I mean, there were times where growing up, I would feel the tension in the house associated with making ends meet.
Economics, right?
Economics.
Yeah.
I could feel the tension in the house, right? As a kid, I remember 6, 7, 8 years old, I could feel it.
Wow.
It was never talked about,
Right.
because my dad just went to work, made it happen. But there's a phrase in Urdu, I'll say it in Urdu, I'll translate it. Har dane wale pe likha hai khane wale ka naam. Dana means rice. Every morsel of rice. So it loosely translates to every morsel of rice has a name written on it. And it will
And it's supposed to be something.
and it will be yours if it's yours.
I like that.
And that's like this unrelenting belief. Like, what are you going to take from me, yo?
Mhm.
You can't really take from me.
No.
Because if you took this shirt from me as an example, then you were just meant to have it.
Hmm.
And I've always,
It's also like Buddhist mentality.
perhaps,
Yeah.
but it's like really, if you just really think about it, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a job, whether that's life in and of itself, right?
Doesn't that kind of relate to scarcity and abundance mindset?
1000%.
I'm a good study.
You're with that.
No, absolutely. Because so like I grew up very, very humbly, and so I had certain friends that they were worse off than me, which I get, and they were I hate to say it this way, they were really fucked up. So everything was like a big deal. Everything was a big deal. Oh, what we eating for lunch? Oh, what we do? Like everything was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then most of my life, I grew up around people like that. I wasn't like that because my mom married well, and he took care of us, little gangster guy, and so I was good. I was in the beginning, I was so poor, I didn't know I was poor. That's how poor I was, right? So like sneakers, like what's whatever.
Sure.
Now then later I got some consciousness, like, oh, this is dope, but I was taken care of, right? And then later on, I ended up in my college years and I started meeting. So let's just say it was like upper middle class, like street money.
Okay.
And then you go to NYU and you meet like the CEO of American Express's daughter.
Yeah.
And you're like, and they got the car outside waiting for them. And you're like taking the train to work, school. Right. And you're like, and I'm from the Bronx, right? Sure. Originally, like 196 Jerome, Castle Hill, like not good zip codes.
Okay.
And I would truck down, take the 6, like J-Lo, never saw her though, and go to Greenwich Village, and you're now immersed with these people. And I met like Vanessa from the Cosby Show. She was one of my class. Like it was, and I'm like, yo, we don't gotta live like this. Like I was like, fuck up, they're fucked up over here. So then you start exploring, and you start like me, it was always exploration and growth. And I was never on I was always about myself. Like at one point I had 3 jobs, and it was because I wanted to have stuff. I wanted to look nice. I wanted to feel good. And my mom, when she got divorced, I had help. And so I never cried about it, just made something happen. Yeah. Going back to like when you said that about your father, kind of resonated with me. And then, I've always overcompensated. Even now, at whatever success or unsuccess we call my barometer, I never complained about lack of resources. I just focus on being resourceful.
Yeah.
And that is the mindset shift that people have to have.
Yep.
Going into back to scarcity and abundance, where like, yo, where's my value? If you have a good self-esteem, right? Because obviously that's a whole other podcast, right? I'm diverging into the next podcast, but like again, going back to how important it is for me and you to have this conversation and talk about this, because this could change a young person, an old person. It could be our age,
of course.
It could change their mind about shit, because most of the time you're so jaded, and you never take advice from those closest.
Yep.
It has to be somebody with a little distance.
Yep.
Has maybe something that you might want.
Yep.
I have had guys who've interviewed to work for me. You got the car, you got the house, I want to get that.
Yep.
I'm like, well, it takes all this.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
Yep.
And they taper off.
Well, I just want, the interesting part is a couple of things. I think self-esteem is really, really important. Mm-hmm. Having people that believe in you is very important. And I think, for those people who are down and out, I have a lot of empathy for them. Mm-hmm. Like, no question about it. For those people who have a scarcity mindset, I have a lot of empathy for them. When I was coming up, though, I grew up in a house with, 3 brothers, 2 grandparents, my parents, my
whole crew,
and an extended family of like 100 people.
Wow.
It was a village, and it still is, by the way. I have a very, very big family. And the interesting is that I was the youngest of the entirety of the family, except I have one cousin who's younger than me by like 3 or 4 years. And the distance between me and my eldest cousin is almost 22 years.
Wow. I think the uncle.
I'm like the youngest, right? And so growing up that way, my life was informed. When people say, if anyone came up to me and said like, and you heard me on a podcast, an interview, something saying like, hey man, they didn't believe in me when I was coming up. That would be a blatant lie.
Okay.
Everyone believed in me.
You had support.
Everyone believed in me. Mm-hmm. Everyone believed in me.
That's great.
Everyone still believes in me. They ride for me 10 toes down. Since I could have consciousness.
That's dope.
Like my mom and dad, the way that I grew up in a 2-parent household. Mm-hmm. I grew up with 2 older brothers, and who not only loved on me and loved me, but also believed in like the tenacity of my dreams. Like we all didn't have the economics of the household were the same.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm gonna go get this job. I'm gonna go get this car.
I'll make this happen.
I'm just gonna go do this. And there was like jet fuel in my back. And I think the important thing, and I'll say it to everybody, is that if you have young children at home, or if you have people that are young around you, telling them that you believe in them is all the difference. And telling them that everything is possible is all the difference, because it is. You know, we live in a country, despite where life is right now, you really,
Despite the craziness that is America right now,
you can really, you can really kind of become something. And I think for me is like that, the upbringing that I had, just to kind of take it back, is like, my mom was a homemaker, never worked. My dad worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs to make ends meet. But never did I ever feel like it was hard.
it's just what
It
is what it was. Is what it is. Absolutely.
And I was informed by something very interestingly enough, and you never know who's going to make an impact on your life. You just never know. You never know. And you never know how they're going to impact.
All the small moments in your life are so critical.
So critical. And my dad had an uncle. He came.
He had an uncle.
He had an uncle that came to my house. I remember that. I was like 10 years old. Pulled up in the driveway. My dad tells me he's got like a BMW, he's got Porsches, what have you. And the first thing I said to him, I was like, well, you must be rich. Because I was kind of obsessed with money. The idea of money, the idea of success.
Right, the concept of it.
Correct.
I got you.
And so the long and the short of that is I saw him wearing a kurta, which is like, a long shirt, basically.
Okay.
But
I know what you're talking about. Right. Yeah.
But the one thing I noticed about that kurta is that he had diamond cufflinks on and diamond buttons on.
Okay.
I have never, ever forgotten that in my entire life.
It's still an impression.
And that to me is like, I want to be that guy who pulls up. And that's just it. I want to be that guy who pulls up with a diamond, not for anything.
Yeah.
But I remember the impression that I had on
inspire the next generation.
Correct.
Got you.
And the man is like now in his 80s.
Still riding?
He doesn't even remember that.
Right. Of course not.
Right.
Of course not. But he was just living his life.
He was just living his life.
Right.
And so the tenacity of dreams, and the other thing is, and we've talked about this a little bit, despite your circumstances and despite everything that you've kind of gone through in your life, you have made it to this point. And I would say that if I look at you as a father, as a friend.
You've seen him. You've seen my clan.
I've seen the clan. I've seen you pull up. One of the most inspiring moments that I saw very recently.
Yeah.
My man pulls up to the gym. Deep. Yeah. And they're all tall.
But
there's not. I think the shortest person in the group is like 5, 6, or 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all tall, all moving. I'm like, I don't know who's always moving with. It's your whole family.
Yeah.
It's the whole squad. And it's such a beautiful thing because as I think about my life and how I want my life to evolve, bringing everybody to the gym, rolling deep, having a beautiful, and you ask me like, what's next and what's next? From a brand perspective, I want to build a sustainable brand, sustainable economically, sustainable from a fabric and lifestyle perspective. But personally speaking, what I think about success is A, how can you inspire the next generation by simply existing?
Correct.
And B, how can you move through with a squad that's not your friends, but that's your family, that's your kin.
Yeah, yeah.
And that to me, man, I just want to give you your flowers. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, family is twofold. It's your blood relatives and those old people you choose. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky I get to choose and I have a clan.
Of course.
All right, listen, I think we're done for today. Speaking to your camera, tell people where they can buy anything from you, have any questions from you.
Yep.
Things of those nature.
So saafgarments.com, www.saafgarments.com, or @saafgarments on Instagram. I answer all the DMs, so if you have any questions on sizes or anything like that, hit me up.
This will be the first of many. Real Omar, askluisomar on every platform. If you need to speak to him, hit me, I'll get him. And we're out. Thank you.